Just imagine for a second that you just got home for the third time, fifth time, or tenth time. The banks are just rejecting your ass when it comes to business loan. It's really important to understand that it's not about your credit, because a lot of people believe it's only because I have bad credit. But no, I mean, if banks are rejecting your ass in a lot of business loan applications, you got to go back to the source. Let's go back to the origins into this conversation, because I want to explain things to you and really tell you the 5 things that really keep you from getting the business loan that you so deserve and you so need right now. So here are the pro tips I really want you to pay attention to. Okay. So if you have bad business credit, you are going to have a problem when it comes to actually getting a business loan. A lot of time people believe, hey, listen, yeah, if I have a bad personal credit, they will actually reject me. But if you have bad business credit also, this could be an important detriment, an important, I would say, obstacle that will preclude you from getting the business loan that you need. And it doesn't really matter whether you're asking for $5,000 or you're asking for $50,000 or $500,000 or $5 million for that matter. Boss, what I'm trying to say, what I'm telling you here is that a lot of business lenders, they go granular. They look at details. I mean, it was kind of funny because not long ago, actually, it was 2 weeks ago, there was a report in the LA Times, the Los Angeles Times, that said that a lot of lenders right now are kind of scared about, they were really scared when it comes to giving business loans for subprime lenders. And so if you have a bad business credit score, you are considered for all intents and purposes a subprime borrower. Okay. So it's really important to really understand that. So when we talk about having a bad business credit score, we're speaking about you actually having something below 80. If you are looking at the paydesk score. Okay. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. So if you have bad business credit, you are going to have problems when it comes to being approved. Now, how do you get a loan despite this problem? What do you have to do going forward? Well, you have to actually beef up your business loan application elsewhere. For example, having a business plan, having financial projections, financial statements. Those are really important. Having strong banking references. Okay. The second reason why you might actually be precluded from getting a business loan is if you have bad personal credit. That's what you and I know. I mean, we have known this since we were little, that if you have bad credit, your chances of qualifying for a loan, any kind of loan, doesn't really matter, business or personal, are kind of low. That's true. That's really true. But the thing here is that when business lenders look at your personal credit, they don't look at just the number, because a lot of folks are sort of like fixated on the number. Yeah, I'm currently at 345. I'm currently at 445. I can't believe I'm doing everything, but I can't seem to go up. But boss, the whole thing here is that business lenders are not just paying attention to your credit score, the number. They're paying attention to the context surrounding that credit score. See, they try to contextualize your credit score. Okay, you are 440. I mean, let me just break it down for you. If you have 445 as a FICO score, and this 445 was a result of a bankruptcy, the impact of that bankruptcy would not be the same. Okay, would not be the same if you compare that to the 445 being the result of, let's say, a series of missed payments. The funny thing is, 2 or 3 years ago, when we have COVID, a lot of people were laid off. A lot of businesses were like, things are really uncertain right now, so they actually laid off a lot of employees. Now, if you got fired because of COVID, right, and because there were like a global pandemic, and you lost your job or you lost your kind of revenue in terms of your business, if your credit score went down as a result of that, the impact for all intents and purposes will be lower than if you had a lower credit score because of bankruptcy or a tax lien or something more significant, quote unquote, more significant. So it's really important to understand that, hey, listen, if you have bad credit score, bad personal credit, this could be a problem. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's conversation. I'm just talking to you about some problems, the top 5 problems that are keeping you from getting a small business loan with a large amount. Okay. Now, how do you get a loan despite this problem? Well, if you have bad personal credit, try to beef up your business credit score. So basically, you can actually segregate, you can divorce your personal affairs from your business affairs. So you're trying to separate as much as possible. Try to run a profitable company. Okay, if you can run a profitable company, you can actually allay the fears that business lenders have when they actually look at your file and they see, oh wow, this is kind of crazy. This borrower has a very like a poor credit score, but on the business side, he or she is doing pretty good. So we're just going to take a chance on him or her. The third thing that can actually happen that makes you actually losing, kind of, quote unquote losing, if you apply for a business loan, is that if you have been in business for an insufficient amount of time, let's say, 1 year or 2 years, or you've been in business for 6 months, you're a startup. Okay. If you're a startup and the bank is asking for 2 years, or the online lender is asking for 2 years, there is nothing you can do. The only thing you can do here is to actually try to have a solid relationship with the bank at the personal level. And we call this, on the personal side, we call this MPR, so multi-product relationship. The whole thing here is that if you have been in business for 6 months and the bank is asking for 2 years, the only way you can actually get the loan you're asking for is by having a strong relationship with the bank at the personal level and having also a business plan. Yeah, those are really important. If you are listening to me right now, you're sitting there. One thing I want you to take away from this show is that, hey, listen, if you are a startup and you haven't been in business for a while, the only thing that can help you is to have a strong relationship, but also a business plan. And in addition to that, you got to have what people call, you got to have financial projections. And if you don't have time or you don't have the knowledge to prepare all 4 financial projections, you can just maybe prepare your projected income statement, because the bank is really interested in knowing what plans you have in the future to sort of monetize your business. Okay, so those are really important elements. So if you have been in business for, let's say, for a small number of months as opposed to years, the way you can get a business loan is business plan, financial statements, financial projections. Okay, you want to have your business licenses and permits. Like, the whole thing is everything you have to do to actually give the appearance of a legit business. That's really important. Don't ever let the bank say, oh wow, this borrower had a crappy application. Never. They can say anything about you. They can say, well, she probably was in business for a short amount of time. Okay, let them say that, but never allow them to say, you know what, she wasn't prepared, because boss, you could do better. The next thing that can actually preclude or prevent you from actually getting a small business loan is if you have cash flow limitations. The thing is that when we talk about cash flow limitations, a lot of entrepreneurs, when they talk about small business loans, everybody get caught up in the whole income sort of things. Like you're thinking, hey, my company, I just need to make sure my revenue is above my expenses so I can have net income. Let me tell you one thing. Actually, 2 things. Banks pay attention to cash more than revenue. That's the first thing. The second thing here is that you can actually manipulate income. The whole thing is there's something called, in the United States, we call it US GAAP. So accountants will understand what I'm talking about. So it's United States generally accepted accounting principles. So basically, I'm not going to bore you with advanced accounting right now, but what I'm trying to say, the point I want to make here is that you can manipulate income. If you don't believe me, go ask people who worked at Arthur Andersen back in the days, and Enron and all those investment banks, Lehman Brothers and whatnot. But you cannot manipulate cash. Either you have it or you don't have it. You can't say, well, I have 10 billion in the bank account, and they start tracing your bank account. They realize you just have like 10,000. You probably added more zeros. Maybe you confused all the dot versus the comma. But the whole thing the point I'm trying to make here is that you can actually tell someone, hey, listen, we made $1 million in net income. But it's very hard to dodge numbers when it comes to cash. That's why a lot of banks, if not all banks, all lenders, pay attention to your cash flows. Okay. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's conversation. Today's topic, I'm sharing with you 5 problems that are keeping you from getting a small business loan with a massive amount. Okay. And so the best way for you to actually fix this problem when it comes to cash flow limitations, we're going back to either you can have a strong business plan that shows how you intend to monetize your operation, or you actually trying to have a collateralized loan. In other words, you are pledging collateral, not necessarily a personal collateral, but you can actually collateralize the loan with business assets. This could actually help. Now, the last thing that actually makes you actually have a problem to qualify for a loan is if you have missing documents or information. The funny thing is, sometimes some people, they just want to apply for a loan, a small business, like a business loan, right? And instead of going to the source, they go online, right? They just go online, they fill in their information, blah, 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 my social, whatever. That's just such a bad strategy. The next time you want to get a business loan, if you are serious about it, I'm not talking about, you just walking around just trying to brag in the neighborhoods. Hey, I'm going to get $100,000. I'm going to get $50,000. I'm going to show them that I could qualify. You're not going to qualify, boss. Stop bragging around. Just sit down and just learn. You go to the source. You go to the bank. You go to the online lender. You call them up, because online lenders, they don't want you to bother them. So they'll just give you a number, or you email them. And you ask all the questions, you ask all the information that you need to provide. Go to the source. Don't do things online, okay? And so what you do here is that you have a checklist, and you try to actually make sure that you meet all the requirements. No missing information. You have to understand, when we talk about business loan applications, those can be really tedious. I mean, sometimes you can have a 4-page or 5-page business loan application. You'll be like, wow, this is like the Bible or whatever. So the point I'm trying to make here is what? If you have a mountain of paperwork, I mean, some lenders want you to really provide things as granular as possible. And this could be a little discouraging for some people. That's why we tell our viewers to always go to the branch. So you always want to go to the branch. So if you want to get a business loan real quick, especially if you have bad credit, you want to go to the source. This is really important. Okay. So go to the source and get the help that you need. So what you want to do here is that go to the source, and this is how you can actually solve this problem. Don't do things by yourself, especially if you have no idea how to fill out the form, or the form is too complicated, or they're asking pieces of evidence that you don't understand or you don't have. Okay, go to the source and get all the help you need from a branch. So those are the 5 things that are really keeping you from getting a small business loan. Now, what I want to do, I want to give you a bonus. So if you have met us so far, I really want to reward you here, sort of, to tell you that, hey, listen, if you are trying to get a business loan and you're not able to get it, your ass keeps getting rejected, there are business loan alternatives. What I'm trying to say here is that if your goal is just to fill your liquidity gap, let's say you have a business and you can't really survive, like you turn around, you need cash, right? You need cash, and nobody wants to lend you money. What you want to do here is consider the alternatives. And when we talk about alternatives, you have a lot of them. God forbid. Thank God. So you have business credit cards. So that's really, business credit cards in some ways are a lot easier to qualify for than business loan. Because a business loan is a long-term commitment from the lender. So the lender is thinking, do I want to commit with this? Do I want to commit to this business for 5 years? Who knows? Maybe they'll file for bankruptcy. Who knows? I'm going to lose my money. But when it comes to credit card, I mean, the credit card is a revolving line of credit, is a revolving product. So they're thinking, hey, listen, if we see that they're not paying their bills for like 1, 2, 3 months, we can just cut off the limit. We can reduce the limit. Or we can just cancel the card altogether and report their account to the credit bureaus. Okay, so business credit cards could be a good possibility for you. So if you are listening to me right now and you are interested in sort of beefing up your company's liquidity profile because you need cash. Ask yourself, do you need cash or do you need liquidity? Because those are not quite the same thing. There's a strong correlation between credit cards, like the financing coming from the credit card, and cash itself. But it's a lot harsher to actually derive cash from a credit card, but you can actually pay people with that. You can pay vendors. Okay, so especially if you have a good credit or you have fair credit and you're not getting a business loan, try alternatives. Okay, so business credit cards can actually give you that liquidity that you need. Now you're not going to have the 50 grand that you wanted. They'll probably give you 25 grand. And hey, listen, you take 25 anyway. I mean, it's money is money. Money is money. Start somewhere. You can also try another thing, which is try business grants. The thing is, people believe that grants are complicated to get. Grants are not complicated. You just have to position yourself. You just have to find your niche. Obviously, there is an initial research you have to do, but grant application is not as complicated. It's not more than complicated than business loan application. Both involve some kind of a due diligence at the beginning, because the whole thing is when you get involved into something for the first time, you're kind of confused. Yeah, I mean that's normal. That's human. Everybody goes through that. Every entrepreneur goes through that. But if your goal is to get a business grant, either from the government or from a private organization, I want you to equip yourself with the proper resources to get the grant. It means what? Maybe you want to hire a business grant writer. You want to have somebody who understands the subtleties of grant writing, especially business grant writing. Okay, and at the personal level, at the federal level, at the state level, and there are two websites that are really good. You have grants.gov, which is a helpful resource if you are interested in grant opportunities offered by the federal government. You also have eda.gov, which is basically a directory of state and regional grants and government contracts available through the U.S. Economic Development Administration. Okay, so one thing we love here is that grants are very attractive when it comes to funding as a funding source, but securing them can be difficult. So if you're not really lucky with grants, go to the third category, which are investors. Okay, when we talk about business loans, we are talking about what? We're speaking about debt. So debt investment. But if it doesn't work, try equity investment. Okay, try to draw. There are a lot of platforms out there. There are a lot of organizations out there who have processes in place to draw in startups, to draw in established businesses who want to diversify their ownership. And so if you're able to create a great business plan, you're able to have compelling financial projections, chances are you are going to attract the right type of business investors, whether they are like private investors or state agencies. You can have also VC capital firms. Okay, we're talking about venture capital, so VC firms, or hedge funds and whatnot. So really, the possibilities are limitless. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make here is that if you do not get approved for business loans, you can either try other types of loans. Like if you don't get approved for business term loans, you can try equipment financing. You can try merchant cash advances. You can try accounts receivable financing, accounts receivable factoring. If those don't work, you can try also business grants, business credit cards, and investment money. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about 5 problems, only 5, that are keeping you from getting a small business loan, a large business loan, bad business credit, bad personal credit, insufficient time in business, cash flow limitations, missing documents or information. And you can try also business loan alternatives, credit cards, grants, and investors. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.